the Socrates of SoCal, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but get it on. Mandate you get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
And Bald Brian.
Why you want to be a comedian? You're not black.
Who saw the Batman.
Oh.
We'll do a Baldywood tomorrow, but
yes.
I am kind of curious, just some initial thoughts.
I could start it right now and end it tomorrow. It would be in real time with the movie.
Oh, that long,
It's
huh?
very long.
Andy saw it at 10 in the morning the other day by himself in an empty theater and thoroughly enjoyed it.
Came home at dusk.
Exactly. Over 3 hours,
Never
right?
sure.
It's exactly 3 hours.
Wow.
It's
I
like
would-
59 minutes.
I would always be pushing for shorter films because, A, no one ever says it was only 2 hours and 13 minutes, but they do say, oh, man, it was 3 hours. It
Strap
was a
in.
slog.
Yeah.
And then you could only show X amount of showings at the Cineplex.
That's a big deal, right? 'Cause
Right.
Although the two highest grossing movies of all time, Avatar and Titanic, epic lengths.
And then obviously a movie like that is going to cost $1 million a minute or $1 million every 2 minutes or whatever budget wise.
Right.
So obviously if you can get 47 minutes out of it, you've saved yourself quite a bit of dough in terms of production.
You got to earn those 3 hours, man. Like, I know you don't see a lot of superhero movies, but just by comparison, like the last Avengers movie, Endgame, that earned that almost 3 hours running time because they had to wrap up so many stories, and it was 15 years in the making. Fine, I get it. But for Batman, dude, you got storylines. You can save that for the next one, for the Batman 2.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So we'll get
into it tomorrow.
We'll get into that tomorrow. Meanwhile, I think we need some more ball pullers for KC this weekend. So there's that. There's also...
So if you're interested in being a ball puller, send an email to questions@adamcarolla.com with a little bit about yourself. Thanks.
And in the devastation of the early morning hours news desk, from that, we have a 7 a.m. flight out of KC on Sunday.
Yes.
To get back here?
Yes.
If only you were in charge.
I know. Always take the earliest flight.
7 a.m. departure, yeah.
You know why? I'll tell you why. Lack of sleep is lack of sleep for me.
So might as well be on an airplane?
I might as well just be on an airplane and get back to L.A. That's
I understand that.
It's also an element of when you get back to your place, that's when you punch out of the work.
Aha.
And if you
Yeah.
you can kick it back to a noon flight, but
Airports and Ubers
Yeah.
and whatever.
yeah,
With the time
it's
change
still. And by the way, as miserable as I am, I always have no recollection of these crazy see in the lobby at 4:45 things. It's all a blur, and then at some point you walk through your front door. But the time is changing that weekend. So
Oh, no.
so not
That's
only
right.
are we going to get back to the hotel at 12:15, 12:30 in the evening, and not only are we going to meet in the lobby at 5:15, but we're also going to lose an hour.
of an
Yeah,
hour.
that's how it's done.
Robbed of an hour.
I hope I'm not jinxing it, but at the very least, it's a very easy airport. You got
Oh,
three
yes.
separate terminals. You walk in and bada boom, bada bing, you're on the plane.
Also, it's a 40-minute drive from the hotel to the airport.
yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Should we even, Chris? Should we leave the lobby, or should we just walk in from the club and sit down for 20 minutes?
Yeah, I think we just hang out front.
Just hang out.
We're not playing anywhere near the airport.
No, we're not.
No.
All right. Well, so
Jean'll be sleeping in her
Oh,
own
I'll be
bed,
in
her childhood bed
My-
with a canopy.
My
birds
mom
chirping.
already, I saw, because we share an Amazon account, that she bought new sheets. And 2 days later, I see the sheets on the bed and everything frilly and fluffy in my twin bed saying, your bed is ready for you.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Parents who love you.
Yeah.
What a novelty.
What it must be like.
So we got some news from the homeless front.
boy.
We also we played some of the Man Show Hall of Fame, and I think we did Scott Baio, some of Scott Baio, and we've done. I can't remember what the other one we did was. We'll think of it. Frank Gifford.
Oh, right.
But we also have Andre the Giant.
I was just about to say Andre snuck in there.
And these things are so well written, and they're so you don't really need the visual of it. I thought it'd be fun to play the Andre the Giant. Remember, Man Show Hall of Fame was always delivered by Jimmy because there was so much verbiage I couldn't get through the cue cards, and he. It's a bizarre thing. He is a very good cold reader, very good and all things written, all things spelled. That is Jimmy. I come from the wilds of North Hollywood, from a construction site and a boxing gym. I didn't know any of the three theirs and how they're spelled, but Jimmy's a stickler. All right, here's a.
I'm surprised you knew there are three.
I know. Here's the Andre the Giant for you.
This is the Man Show Hall of Fame. A shrine built to honor the great men of our time, men whose excellence inspires us. And tonight, our spotlight shines somewhat ironically on a man from the least manly of all countries, France. But this Frenchman was not your typical goose-necked, wine-sipping, cracker-licking cheese nibbler. He was different. His massive head was too big for any beret. His powerful wrists equal in size to those of an adult male lowland gorilla. His family knew him as André René Rozanoff, but the rest of the planet knew him as Andre the Giant. Born 6'4", 255 pounds, Andre burst from his mother's uterus like a Kool-Aid commercial. Thanks to an overactive pituitary gland, at age 9, Andre was the largest animal on his parents' farm. But farm life did not suit the man-child. His dreams were as big as his waistband. He longed to travel the world. And so, on his 14th birthday, Andre left his small village for the lights of Paris, where, like many young men with stars in their eyes, he was taken in by professional wrestlers. They saw something in the youngster. Perhaps it was the way he carried himself. Perhaps it was the gleam in his eye. Perhaps it was his freak-like physique. Whatever the case, the wrestlers taught him their craft, and while the boy learned, he grew and grew, ultimately peaking at an astonishing 7'5", 525 pounds. The Giant tore through opponents like Rosie O'Donnell through a box of ring dings.
Oh, division.
Poor Rosie.
I understand she's a hell of a wrestler, too. No man was his match inside the square circle or at the dinner table. His appetite for food and drink was legendary. He was known to eat 16 steaks and 12 lobsters in one sitting. One night in Germany, the Giant guzzled an astounding 117 bottles of beer before his bladder burst and flooded the bar. His magnetism was magnetic. All around the globe, women flocked to Andre. But he never married. His life was that of a nomad, always on the move. His only true love was Lady Liberty. And I'm not speaking metaphorically. He actually dated the Statue of Liberty. There's their prom photo.
Early days of Photoshop.
Andre longed to have a family, but he could not have a family because he was hung like a Duraflame log. He faced many physical impossibilities. He was unable to dial a phone because his fingers were too large. He was forced to lay in the aisle of planes because the seats could not accommodate him. Toilet lids could not be closed after his tremendous dumps. But despite those limitations, Andre headbutted and body slammed his way across America and into our hearts. He was one of the most famous athletes in the world. His championship bout with Hulk Hogan drew 92,000 fans to the Pontiac Silverdome, a record that still stands as the largest crowd ever to see an indoor sporting event. He went on to star in movies as well, successful movies like The Princess Bride and Andre's only disappointment came on Broadway, where his starring role in the musical Peter Pan drew unfavorable comparisons to Sandy Duncan. Doctors said the giant would not live past the age of 45, but again, he proved them all wrong, living to the ripe old age of 45 and a half. On January 27, 1993, Andre left us when he tragically choked to death on a Chrysler K car. But in a world of diet soda, exercycles, and veggie wraps, men like the giant are a dying breed. He lived life to the fullest. And tonight, we are proud to induct Andre the Giant into the Man Show Hall of Fame.
Accepting for Andre the Giant, his cousin, Andre the Midget.
Oh, that's nice. He'll put a singlet.
This is Andre's cousin, Andre the Midget.
Thank you. Thank you for this great honor.
Can't see his head over the
My
podium.
cousin Andre would be very proud to be here tonight. He loved to make people laugh. I remember one time we were at the beach. He stuffed me up his butt and jumped in the water. I nearly drowned, but it was worth it to see the smile on his face when he farted me back to shore. On behalf of the Giants family, I thank you.
This is a little guy with a big heart. Oh, from midgets to monkeys, we cover it all, fellas. This is the Man Show. Come here, come here.
All right. Oh, the monkey bar. Wait, wasn't one of those monkeys from the monkey bar one of the monkeys that attacked the woman's face?
Yeah.
What?
No.
What?
You're shitting me.
That's not a thing.
Well, that's what Chris told me a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we were saving it. It's a voicemail. Somebody calls in to let us know. But yeah, one of the
That can't be true.
yeah he had some credits on the Man Show.
Oh, no.
You had a possible brush with death.
Well, not me, because
those are
we
crazy.
had a director named Tom Stern, who famously, Tom Stern was the guy who walked with me out to the parking lot where my car was up on a tow truck and started unlashing the tires and yelling at me, unlash the other one and get in the car.
Those Duke boys.
He was kind of the instigator of the whole thing.
Wow.
I wasn't really planning on undoing my car from a tow truck in a full tow tilt. It was the one that had the forks under the rear tires. But it was in full tow tilt, and he unlashed them on one side, and just it was like one of these things where I was kind of like going, what the fuck is going on, after having multiple arguments with the driver and his girlfriend, I think. But at a certain point, Tom started unlashing one of them, and he just yelled, "Go, go!" And I was like, "Huh?" It's kind of like someone handing you something and going, "Go, run!" You know. And I was just like, "Okay." And I jumped in. I think I unlashed the other side, and then jumped in the car. The car was a stick shift, and the forks, or what was slid under the car, had a sort of a cup to hold the rear wheels. So I had to pop it in first gear and pop myself, drop the clutch, throw a few revs.
Damn.
Didn't want to stall it out and
Can't do that.
pop off the tow truck. And then, of course,
Impressive.
I just sped into the night, and Tom was running like the other direction. And that was that.
Was it Elise?
Yes.
Oh, good. That all adds up.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was waiting for like the marshals to show up at my house the next day, because I figured the guy had all the info from
Yeah,
the license plate and
Right.
everything, and they never showed up. There was a thin hairline scratch along the rear bumper, and the rear
From the forks, presumably.
from something it made contact with. Just one scratch along the back bumper, and the well where the spare tire was in the trunk got pushed up. But I just pulled the spare tire out and literally jumped in it and sort of pushed it back down. And when I turned it in, there was none the worse for wear.
No arguments.
I think the tow truck driver was probably too humiliated to report that to his supervisor.
Yeah, what
I hope
happened
so.
again?
Travis, the chimpanzee in '09, attacked and mauled the owner's friend, blinding her severely.
Severing body parts.
Severing body parts. Oh, yeah, sorry. I mean, it was a shit show, but evidently Tom worked with Travis, the chimp,
The ticking time bomb.
as well. But I would never be. I don't think Jimmy and I were on the set for the monkey bar or anything we did with chimps.
Yeah.
It was a rolling package.
It wasn't that we didn't want to be there. It was just we're in the office writing other shit. I mean, you know, Andre's brother, Andre the Midget. I mean, that doesn't write itself.
Yeah.
Someone's got to think of that
Right.
shit.
Yeah.
You know
Got to
what I
write his
mean?
monologue.
Can't be on a set watching fucking monkeys.
Okay, so the monkey was on the Maury Povich show, the Man Show, and a Pepsi commercial.
Wow.
More credits than I have.
In happier times.
Yeah, the thing about, I guess humans do it. You know, we used to call it going postal.
Yeah.
But animals snap at some point.
Well, as
Yeah.
Chris Rock says, the tiger went tiger.
Off
They're
time.
supposed
yes,
to.
that they did what they do. All right, Jay Mohr's here a little bit early, so we'll bring him in as soon as we're ready for that.
Didn't want to run out of gas.
Yeah. Oh my God, I paid $100 to fill my car up.
Yeah, it sounds about
2
right these
ago.
days.
Yeah.
And people are, you know, the average price nationwide, I think, is $4.11, which is insane. What we wouldn't give for $4.11 here in LA.
You're lying around the block.
My God.
I know I always bring it up, but why? Why does LA have to be the most for everything all the time? Oh, second only to like San Francisco.
Right.
Like it's just the most. Like I get it for housing. Housing's expensive. People want to live in the Bay Area, whatever. But why gas? What is so different about gas that we have to always be paying the most? Anyway, so
Must be LA city tax, LA county tax,
Yeah,
because when you
'cause they
drive
can.
up the Grapevine or whatever, you're in the middle of fucking Buttonwillow, it's gas is significantly cheaper.
yeah, well, we have additives we need to add because it's LA. We have, or California. There's a California blend. Ours is always
Like
more
coffee?
expensive. Yeah, it's
Techron.
it's just
Arabica?
it's just one of those things. Like I said, you know, if you want to order a chimneyless gas fireplace, they'll ship it anywhere but California. They go,
Oh,
"Will
yeah.
not." You'll see a lot of stuff saying will not ship to California.
Right.
If you want
experienced this with light bulbs.
You
have
want
to
a-
order LEDs now.
a light bulb, you want a cat back exhaust system or something for your BMW, it's like we'll ship anywhere but California.
Yeah,
so we have
item is
our own.
unavailable ship to your location.
Embargo.
We have our own laws that evidently somehow the rest of the country isn't affected by this, but somehow we are. So we need the special blend of fuel. We can't have the certain
Special
light
light
bulbs.
bulbs, yeah.
We can't have tempered glass versus laminated glass or something. It was a whole like, well, you can't use it. Not in California. Like, I would argue, like I said, go to the beach, look at the sign.
Lengthy.
You're in one of the Carolinas.
Comprehensive.
Yeah.
The sign says "Enjoy yourself."
Yeah.
You know, keep
Don't
your
break a bottle, idiot.
Yeah, right. Here it is: no frisbee, no smoking, no beer, no fireworks, no
No
fires.
dog.
I mean, it's just you can literally just you should probably go. I should probably say this. You know, I've always said I can live anywhere with the PF Chang's now. But I'd also like to loosely base it on the beach sign. I want to know what I can't do on that beach. And you show me the one with the shortest sign.
No frowns.
They have badges like a Subaru.
I will,
It's
yes,
like they're tiles.
That's right.
I will move to that city or that state. All right. So there's somebody shot me a tweet, or maybe, no, somebody sent me a picture of two-story homeless compound. I don't know if you guys have seen that
I can
one.
only imagine.
They're going up.
Oh, yeah, the building.
They're going up now.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
How?
They're building, man.
See a lot of plywood.
What are we looking at? Is that like some sort of scaffolding with like cardboard walls?
Looks like they built a plywood first floor and then they moved up with some cardboard or plywood for the second floor. But
Is this the king of the homeless?
I guess. But it's again, it's also weird because you want to put a pergola on your house, you got to pull a permit, and there's a big wait at the Department of Building and Safety. But
There's Cheetah's house back there in the background.
Now, would you call this prefab?
No.
Yes. Well, no.
No.
That's
Current fab.
Stick framed, as we call it in the business. But Newsom's got a new plan for the homeless situation.
I was wondering, did you talk to Drew about that? What does he think about that? Because everything sounds great, but what can it be put into motion?
Well, the ACLU is not down.
They're
already got a problem. But the new one is what, Chris?
Yeah, so this is called the Community Assistance Recovery and Empowerment Court, the CARE Court. That's right. So he proposed on Friday, Governor Gavin Newsom, to push more people with severe mental health and addiction issues into court-ordered treatment.
Oh, controversial.
Yeah, so he unveiled general details of the plan, and the goal is to leverage judicial power to compel thousands of people struggling with serious addiction, mental and behavioral health issues, and chronic homelessness into treatment and housing. It's not a conservatorship. They're trying to differentiate that. But Kevin Baker, Director of Government Relations for ACLU, has already commented. He says, at this point, there are a million questions and a million things that could go horribly wrong with this. He said homelessness is caused by skyrocketing housing costs, and we won't solve homelessness, mental health, or substance abuse problems by locking people up and drugging them against their will.
All right.
So just the drugs they want.
Yeah.
All right. First off, we're getting to the point where we can admit that if it's not 100% of the homeless in Los Angeles aren't mentally ill or addicted to drugs, it's in the mid 90s. It's all observational, but it's all you need. I mean, you don't need to get a consensus. You just drive around and see crazy people looking haggard, and you go, that person's on drugs. Number one. Number two, homes are expensive, but take it from a guy who had 3 dudes in a 1-bedroom apartment in North Hollywood and shared a futon with one of them while the other one slept on a pull-out sofa in the living room. It's pretty doable.
Oh, dude, this is a big city with shitty apartments. You can
galore.
If you're hanging on financially, barely, you can make it work.
Yes, that's what it is. We took a 1-bedroom apartment, we whacked it up 3 ways, and we figured it out. So this can't afford a home. All right, I get it, but can't afford to get some folks together and go in on an apartment. We're lousy with apartments. The entire San Fernando Valley is just one big shitty complex.
It's all stucco, as I understand it.
Right. It's all
as you understand
every
I've not been there myself.
Square inch of the San Fernando Valley has stucco on it. But by the way, stucco with that finish, that rough finish.
Oh, yeah.
That if you're going by it on a skateboard and catch an elbow, you are fucked. It's emery cloth.
Is there any other kind of finish? I'm serious. I didn't know there was another kind of finish.
Oh, it got.
Oh, I guess you could do
the steel trowel smooth finish. Got very popular in the 80s and 90s.
Like that fan shape.
Those were the modern ones. They just literally looking like smooth concrete, but those always spider cracked. You could always see the cracks on those. Whereas the stucco that was finished with a sponge. See, a sponge trowel would get rid of some of the little slurry there and bring up the aggregate. So all that stuff is finished with a sponge. The worst, I'll tell you the worst. The worst is when you are seeing a house that had like one kind of stucco finish, like let's say smooth stucco finish, or an Adobe style, like a real rough stucco finish. And then the house was like built in the 20s, Spanish, had a certain kind of Spanish stucco vibe. And at some point, you'll see that they rebuilt the chimney because the old chimney was brick. And they had to take that down with the earthquake. Then they rebuilt it, and it's a stucco chimney, but it has 70s style stucco finish. So the fucking chimney's got the sandy apartment building on it, and then the building underneath it has the 20s style Adobe. It makes this contractor sick.
What am I envisioning? I'm thinking of like the stucco that looks almost like a topographical map of the ocean floor, where it's like, it's a smooth patch, and then maybe there's a eighth of an inch drop, and then another smooth patch. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and as though it has been smoothed out. I'm imagining that's what's happened. Like a casita, you know what I mean? Like it's not rough, it's smooth, but it's like big sweet patch.
bumpy.
Yeah, a little bit
In places.
ridges.
Yeah.
There's a few different types, but every apartment
It's
that
hot
was built
pod.
from 1968 to 1988 has the same sponge finish, gravel, stucco, with a flat roof. All right. We have another homeless structure I sent you. That's what I was looking for. So, they're just building
super
out.
pumped by
I mean,
Is that a vehicle?
It looks like an old food truck.
Yeah, we've just taken it to the streets out here.
They're drying their clothing. It's a nice clothing line out front. Old towels.
Right. So
dog, maybe?
here's the thing.
Water
Looks like they have a
bottles?
tiger or something.
That's a goat.
does.
Oh, a goat. They have a pet goat out front, or maybe they milk it.
To sustain themselves.
Who knows? But anyway, kudos to Gavin Newsom, who's doing something. So we
Not a
never.
moment too soon.
Yes, it's
Garcetti has his back too.
gotten worse and worse and worse. Now,
That man
first things
Rob.
first. We don't need to listen to the ACLU or any homelessness advocates or anything. You guys don't know jack shit, number one. Number two, everybody's on the street by virtue of the fact that they sleep on a sidewalk, has some mental issues or some drug issues. I have slept out of doors when not camping on two occasions. One is when I was over my buddy John's house, who was a little bit older up the street. I was 16. And he always used to go, come on, drink a beer. And I'd like try to drink it and it would go up my nose. I couldn't chug it. I couldn't chug a beer, you know.
Early beer drinking it takes some getting used to.
Yes, I could not. I was not getting, and I was getting laughed at. So they went, and we had a buddy named Chet who worked at the AM/PM on the corner by your house, Gina.
Oh, cool.
And he took a big bottle of like White Boone's Farm, wine, and it tasted like Gatorade to me, and they were dumping it in a big tumbler, and I was just
It goes down easy.
It was the night of the Powder Puff game, the big Powder Puff game, where the Chanticleers and the Puffs, the Cream Puffs or whatever, the two girls groups locked horns in battle, epic battle on the ice of the ring.
Oh.
Right.
They'd take the broom.
Is this the Ray naked?
Tape it off.
The streaking.
Oh,
episode?
Ray and Chris went naked later.
Okay.
But this was an earlier game. But it was the biggest event of the school
They
would
waited
have.
for prime time.
Yeah. We were going to Bluffside Park for like the pre-party, the party at the park.
Sure.
Can't show up sober.
And my buddy John had two matching sweaters. He had a blue one and a red one, and I didn't have a sweater. And he gave me the sweater, and they fed me all this wine. And we got in the back of a VW Squareback, and I booted all over my sweater and his sweater, taking out both his sweaters in the back seat of this VW. And I was so blitzed that I never got. Then we had to go back to his house, and he had to change, and then I had to get rid of the sweater. And I was in no condition to go on to the Powder Puff game, so I walked home back to my dad's house, and I slept sort of half in the driveway and half in the shrub that night, and woke up at
We needed a pillow.
I woke up like 3:30 in the morning or 5 in the morning and made my way back to my bed. But I remember waking up the next morning and having bits of asphalt gravel in my cheek because I slept on the driveway.
Look like Ray Liotta.
But that was a time I slept outside.
Sure.
But it was a substance related issue.
Sure.
And then the other times when I was driving to Tijuana with the snake and the tire blew out and we didn't have a spare, so we had
That barely counts.
we
You're
had
not
to,
even in
had to
America.
sleep by the side of the road.
Yeah.
But those are the only two times I physically just went to bed in a almost public outdoor space.
And you've been destitute or destitute adjacent, so it's not like you didn't have the opportunity. Should you have?
I had an apartment in North Hollywood where my girlfriend moved out, and it was just me alone for a while, and the rent was like $739. I couldn't make the rent, and I had a revolving door of basically strangers crashing for a month, like sleeping in the loft, like guys showing up with a box with boots and Dinty Moore stew in it, like,
Don't ask
hey
any
man,
questions.
my name's Steve. And like, all right, there's the loft. Here's half the rent, and then he'd move out, and then a guy named Canadian Bob who was going back to Canada.
You don't say.
Right there in the name, Gina.
Was a novelty to meet a guy from Canada back then, and he was moving back to Canada, but he needed a place to crash for like 3 weeks, so he wrote me a check for like $250. Like
Ace B and B.
Yeah.
I've been all over. All I was roommates in rooms and fold out sofas. I did not have a roommate for moved out about 18 and a half or 19. Had a roommate, my first house even, that I had a 14-year run, maybe 15-year run of roommates 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And that was that. So when you want to figure it out, you can figure it out. All right. We got Brad Meltzer, the celebrated author, New York Times bestseller. We got him up on the blower yet?
He's not on
And
yet.
friend of presidents.
Oh, yeah, really. And wrote a book about Dolly Parton.
Yes. He has this amazing line of kids' book, the I Am books.
Yes, but this subject is really interesting. His latest book sort of has to do with the pandemic. First, I'll tell you about Tommy John. That's right. Hammock pouch underwear is the full package deal when you're wearing Tommy John hammock pouch underwear. You're so much more comfortable. You do everything better. Innovations like air mesh interior hammock, moisture wicking fabric with 4 times the stretch of competing brands, legs never ride up, and non-rolling waistbands. Tommy John doesn't have customers. They have fanatics. Over 17 million pairs sold. I'm wearing mine right now. You know, there's no leaving of the house without the Tommy Johns. They're just the best. Every pair is backed by the best pair you'll ever wear. Guarantee, or it's free. They're a great sponsor, and they make a great product. It's Tommy John, right, Dawson?
Get 20% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/Adam. That's TommyJohn.com/Adam for 20% off. TommyJohn.com/Adam. See site for details.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back with Brad Meltzer right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Adam, Jason from Boston. When you Google that Travis the chimp, that chimpanzee that ripped that woman's face off and ripped her hands off before he was killed by the cops, she ended up on the Oprah show. When you Google him, he's got some acting creds and a couple commercials, and one of the actings is in the Man Show. And long-time listener, I never actually heard you talk about that. I don't know if you remember working with Travis and if you were ever in fear of getting your face ripped off. Get it on. Get back to Boston. We miss you at the Wilbur.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Well, the prolific New York Times bestselling author, Brad Meltzer, has joined us. The book called The Lightning Rod, and it's available now on Amazon as you hear this today. Good to see you again, Brad.
Good to see you, brother.
So let's talk about the book, because it's pretty timely. And I don't know if you wrote it based on the times or it just turned out to be a happy coincidence.
You know, I started the book, as all things, like any good Jew, with complete neuroses of my fears, which is handing over your keys to the valet at a fancy restaurant. And that's what happens in the opening scene. And the valet takes the keys. And instead of parking the car, he basically hits the GPS button. He says the magic words, "Go home." And now he's riding to the character's house with his car keys, with his house keys. This is a robbery. And he breaks into the house. And what he sees there is someone's waiting there with a gun. This isn't a robbery at all. This is a trap. And when his body shows up, they find something hidden on his body that leads to one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. I just ruined chapter 1 of the Lightning Rod for you, but there it goes. But I do my thing, right? That's the bit. But what I love doing, as you know, is finding that kind of like government secret thing that isn't my imagination, but's real. And, you know, I've been on the show before. I've done the secret tunnels below the White House. I've did the labyrinth below the Capitol. For this one, and this is true, the book's obviously all fiction, but this part's true, is the government has a dozen secret warehouses hidden all across the country that fights back against bioterrorism attacks. So whether it's anthrax or whether it's smallpox, whatever it might be, whether you're in LA or the attacks in Texas or Idaho or New York, within a couple hours, they will have a push package of antidote sent your way.
Wow.
And what's crazy about it is, I'm like, you're telling me the government's got all these secret things, a strategic national stockpile, and nobody can go in? I want to know what's inside. So the final scene in the lightning rod that you see, what you see inside there, I didn't make up. It's really there.
Wow.
How do you gain access to this? I know you have a lot of connections in the government, but how does it begin?
You know, it started, the first people who helped me was the Secret Service. And the Secret Service has been helping me for about 20 years now. Because when they first came to me, one of the Secret Service guys read one of my books. And then President Clinton and President Bush both wrote me like fan letters of all things saying they liked the research. And the Secret Service will always say to me, listen, we can tell you this one thing, you can't print it. But we're going to tell you it so you understand the second thing, which you can write about. And for 20 years now, the honest truth is I'm a man of my word. I never print what they tell me not to. And that's why they continue to help me. So this one I found out. And the honest truth is, Adam, I don't think I ever would have gotten, I started researching this book 5 years ago. 5 years ago, no one gave a crap about this place. They were like, whatever, nobody cares. Come on in, we'll show you the headquarters and everything. And then COVID hits and everything is shut down. You can't get in there now. That the place is obviously dealing with everything. That's where the ventilators were. That's where masks were supposed to be. The whole place turned into a disaster. And obviously I had to kind of like deal with what was happening in real time. But thankfully, all the research was done before.
Well, I think you'd be uniquely qualified to answer this question since you've worked on, you've worked with the powers that be on possible terrorist scenarios and things of that nature. And, I have kind of two heads on government. One is, oh, these fucking idiots are incompetent. And the other is, oh, they must have some plan. And I'm now thinking about Russia and nukes. And I'm like, we were making fun of Trump talking about Space Force a few years ago. But what do we have in place, if anything at all, or the best of your knowledge, to if Putin just went, I'm hitting the launch codes?
Listen, the launch codes, you know what they are? The obviously they call it the football.
Right.
Okay, it's the Marine Guard who follows around the president with this case. When you actually open up, because I did research, I wanted to know, what is the football? Is it like two red buttons and like keys like you see in every cheesy movie? And what you do when you get it is when you become president, one of the things they give you is this thing in your wallet. And it's like a little credit card you crack. And there's codes in that little crack thing that once you open up, it has it. So you got to read the codes and do that. And it's like as basic as can be. Now, what do we have? If nuclear war happens, so let's be clear, the way that they originally planned, and I believe like you, the government is super smart sometimes, and then also they can't deal with a friggin' snow day, right? You can't plow the streets, and they can't handle snow in Washington, D.C. Like, how are they protecting us against nukes? But here's what they did do. This is the history of it. It actually comes from the storehouse that we're talking about. Is back during the Eisenhower times when nuclear war was the big threat, they were like, how do we deal with this? So they created a secret organization, and it was called Project High Point. And High Point was designed to deal with nuclear war. And what happens, the continuity of government, they built places like Mount Weather outside of Washington, D.C. That's where Dick Cheney and the two locations up there, Dick Cheney went on 9/11. That's where they brought Bush. That's where like the senators go, the congressmen go, all the big shots go. There are even rental cars that are secretly hidden around DC that you think are parked cars that are there in case there's a nuclear war. Wow. Don't worry, we got the rental cars covered, right? Like that's there for them to go. You need a car, go. So High Point's great. And then the government says, well, what do we do for everybody else? What happens to the rest of us? What's Paul Bryan going to do? What's Adam going to do? What do we do? So they make Operation Low Point. And Operation Low Point is in Michigan. And I think it's an old sanitarium, which again, take your metaphor as you get them, right? And Operation Low Point studies, what do we do with everybody else, the rest of us? So now here's what they figure out. They're like, they got a whole plan. So don't worry, this plan was in place. The plan was we're going to turn mail trucks into hearses. That's what's going to carry bodies. They're not going to do mail anymore. They're going to carry dead bodies. And they figure out all the stuff of what's going to move bodies around and what they're going to do. But what they finally eventually realize is that it's never going to work. We're all going to die, right? If there's a nuclear, they're like, nothing we do, hiding under desks and doing these things they used to do back in the 50s and 60s was useless. And it basically, they got no plan. There's no plan until the 90s. And in the 90s, this one government employee named Stephen Bice says, you know what? It's not nuclear war we got to worry about anymore. It's bioterrorism. Like, that's what they're going to launch. No one wants to destroy the planet because then we're all screwed. They saw war games. They know what's going to happen. And mutually assured destruction. They saw it. So he says we should make a warehouse that houses all this stuff. And for the first time that I can think in so long, when the government employee has a good idea, the government says, dude, listen to that guy. Let's do it. And they make it. And the reason when 9/11 happens, of all the mess ups that happen, like Clinton put it into moving, when anthrax hits New York and DC, the reason we all don't get infected is because of this. These warehouses, which eventually get built bigger and bigger, are there to finally take care of it. And so, but as for what's happening now, man, look for your local mail truck.
I thought we were all supposed to go to the limestone caves in the Midwest.
If you can get there, man, I don't know, that's not low point. That may be lower point.
There's there is a big bunker in the Catskills, right? At that resort.
So yeah, the bunker is in outside DC. It was called, I just blanked on the name. I'll think of it in a second. So here's what happens with that bunker though.
Is that the Catskills one or is that another one?
I'm thinking of the one where the hostages came after they came back from Iran. Is that the one you're talking about?
I just remember seeing some History Channel show that there's this old resort in the Catskills.
Yeah, Greenbrier, the Greenbrier Resort.
Right,
is what it's
and
called.
There's a big bunker in there.
So here's what happened.
Nobody knows about.
Well, here's what happened with Greenbrier. Well, what happened is the Washington Post basically, this is how it happened. A guy takes over the resort and he becomes like the new CFO, and he's going through the books, and he's like, "Man, our gas budget is like crazy. Why are we running electricity like here?" And he starts asking all these questions. And he finally is just smart enough to figure out, like, why are we powering an entire city from our our hotel? And eventually a guy shows up in his office and gives him an ID, says, "This is not my name. This is not who I am," but sits down and tells him, "Listen, there's a friggin' hidden bunker underneath this thing." And the truth is, once the story gets out it gets out to everyone. Everyone finds out about it. The Washington Post does a story. That bunker that was there to save us, you can now go on your own private tour if you want. It's open to the public. So good luck at the limestone caves.
Thanks, media.
Do you have any thoughts about COVID and Wuhan and lab leaks and wet markets? And have you used your sizable brain to try to think about that one?
Yeah, listen, I'm obsessed with that stuff because you want to know. The one thing I'm seeing right now on the Wuhan stuff is there's magic words in the conspiracy world. And the magic words are like, people are saying. And when someone starts their sentence, say people are saying, that means I don't have evidence worth crap. But I'm going to say something that's pretty provocative right now. And listen, I want to know if it was a weapon gone wrong. I want to know if it was a thing, but I don't see any of the evidence. It's just people saying, people are saying. So I don't see it. I mean, the stuff that I just read recently was, of course, the same thing you read, which said it wasn't in a lab, but it was actually in a market. When we test our stuff, we don't test it like near us. We test it in a place where if it goes wrong and goes south, you don't want to be near it. So, the idea that it's something that's weaponized, something doesn't ring true for me because it was too close to the people making it. And that screw up you don't usually want to happen. So unless it's just so early on, of course. But listen, of course I love that stuff and I want to know it. One of the things I always ask the government is, I'm like, how do you keep your secrets, right? If it is in Wuhan, they're going to keep secrets. I said to the government, how do you keep your best secrets?
Gun goes to Brad's head.
Right. No, and I say to them, I'm like, listen, they said, and this is true. They told me this. They said, if Adam and I want to send a message to each other and we put it in and I hit send on my email, whether it's on WhatsApp, whether it's on Signal, anyone with a good, encryption program can crack the encryption. So once you hit send, it's anybody's game. So they said, here's what you do. You take your Gmail account, your Hotmail account, whatever account, go get a public account. They say, write a letter to Adam. Don't hit send. Hit save draft. Now, Adam, you give him the login to your account. Adam goes into my account. He goes into my saved drafts. He reads what I wrote. He deletes it. He writes something new. Doesn't hit save. He doesn't hit anything but save draft again. Now, you and I are talking. We've never sent a thing. And I said, that's a great idea until General Petraeus, the head of the CIA, used that exact trick, which is in my book, to cheat on his wife with his mistress. And I basically go back to my buddy and I'm like, listen, man, your guy just used this. I need something better. So what he gave me, you'll see in the book, is a thing called Black House. It's something that the government, I won't say they're using it or not using it, but when you see it, it's pretty awesome. So I put that in the lightning rod too.
Do you think in your, you're asked to prognosticate what might the terrorists be up to? The whole COVID thing, is that a dry run that might motivate some rogue nations to go, hey, this is pretty effective. Like, we see how fast it spreads. We see what happens to the places. We see how this shuts everything down. Like, are folks, in your opinion, going, hey, we're taking note of how this sort of worked, whether it was intentional or not. We at least got a lot of data for how society breaks down when this happens. Maybe this would be effective for our rogue nation at some point.
Listen, everything's when terrorists took planes on 9/11 and turned them into missiles, right? That made the government wake up and say, we need to be ready for every crazy idea. So what they did is they launched this red cell program. You and I spoke about it years ago. I actually got a phone call and they asked me to come in and brainstorm different ways that terrorists could attack the United States, right? And my thought was, if they're calling me, we have bigger problems than anybody thinks, right? If you think we're screwed now, like, forget it. And I went in and we would come up with things. And one of the things we would do are disruption exercises, right? We'd figure out, how do we disrupt society in the best way? And it used to be like, like the things you used to see in just about every movie, right? You blow up the bridges, you blow up this. We now see COVID. Everything is a new idea. Every bad thing that happens is a new idea. But I have to be honest, the disaster of COVID is that every nation suffered. The one thing it proved is that if you let a biological, it used to be a biological weapon will come and the biological weapon will be contained to the United States and we're going to screw it up. But what COVID proved is whatever you put here will be on the other doorstep or on your own doorstep within a day or two. Like, people, you can't contain people. It's like there's a theory that in this world, in that how it moves, is like ants at a picnic. And ants, wherever your food is, the ants will come from the right side of the picnic table, the left side of the picnic table, let's say the south side and the north side, every side. And whoever has the fastest route, the ants, they have some kind of, no one really understands it, but they communicate with each other. And whatever the fastest route is, everyone eventually goes to that route. And the ants, the point is, are going to eventually get your stuff. Whatever you're doing now with COVID is going to backfire in your face. The best thing that they have for disruption is misinformation, is us arguing about bullshit that is people saying, people should say, but, I've heard people say, and that is more disruptive to the United States than any bioweapon that we've seen.
Yeah, interesting. Well, imagine.
Just my opinion.
Well, no,
who are you?
You're fighting a war, and the people you're fighting, all the generals and citizens and soldiers are all fighting amongst each other. Yeah. Why fire a shot?
You're right. They want Russia's disinformation campaign on the United States. That's what the books will be written about. I don't think it's going to be about COVID or Wuhan or this again, my personal prediction is they're going to eventually realize they have our numbers so badly. We fight more with each other than we ever did as a society. We are a giant mess right now. And whatever becomes controversial, you can see the Twitter immediately explodes with us yelling at each other. So what do? We've now muted half of our populace. We just said, I don't want to hear from my crazy uncle. I don't want to hear from my non-crazy. Like, whatever is on your opposite side, you mute. And I encourage you, and this is hard, but listen, go follow someone who doesn't listen to your beliefs. You will want to kill them within a couple hours, right? You certainly will, but you're not an informed citizen if you're just listening to people who agree with you. You're just not.
I listen to Alyssa Milano's podcast on a regular basis just to find out what someone who disagrees with me and will become violently ill if we ever had a sexual encounter is up to. You know,
I didn't know you were a
but
P1 lover.
you know what? I'm happy you do that because I really do believe that you know, the one thing we forget is everyone on the other side, whoever it is you hate, whoever it is you think is horrible. Like I've done a lot of work studying the Civil War. And at the start of the Civil War, you know, countries divide in half. Every side hates the other side. Whatever side you're on, you think the other side are horrible, awful people. Does that sound familiar to you? It's exactly where we are now. But the only way out is Abraham Lincoln. What does Abraham Lincoln say when he gets sworn in as president? He says in that moment, and half the country hates Abraham Lincoln. In the South, they did not vote for Abraham Lincoln a single vote because they didn't put him on the ballot. That's how much they hated him. So 3 days into his election, you know, they're already saying they're going to secede from the Union. South Carolina's gone. It's all falling apart. He should come in and give the middle finger to everyone and be like, I'm going to go with my posse and this is it. And instead he comes in, he says, we should not be enemies. We should be friends. And I know it sounds like a silly, naive idea, but that's an idea worth fighting for. It is an idea worth fighting for.
I agree. You know, the thing I always found interesting, and I'll screw it up a little, but we were very much interested in Russia and how they affected the election, and there was a lot of discussion and drilling down on that. And then at some point, when they got the data, they realized that most of the stuff wasn't pro-Clinton, Hillary, or pro-Trump. It was pro-racism. It was all sort of racist stuff. And we found that out, and we went right back to arguing about race almost immediately. Like we did exactly what they wanted us to do.
I don't know if you saw I write kids' books too. And I had two of my kids' books. I Am Rosa Parks and I Am Martin Luther King Jr. got banned.
Yeah, I wanted to get to that.
How does that happen?
Where do they get banned from?
So they get banned from York County, Pennsylvania. And what happens is, I do these books because I want my kids to have better heroes to look up to. My kids are fed garbage every day on Instagram. I'm like, let me give them better heroes. Let me give them, I am Amelia Earhart. I am Abraham Lincoln. I am Rosa Parks. I am Albert Einstein. My son who loves sports, here's I am Jackie Robinson. And we did Jim Henson, you name it. We've got like 25 of them. And what the school board did, it had nothing to do with the content. There were 200 books identified as good for teaching issues of race to kids. And it was like books by Malala and, Sesame Street and Hidden Figures, an adaptation of that, the women who helped in NASA. And they banned them all because what they did is they said, we're going to wait some time. We want to read these books before we give them to kids. Now, to me, that's a good idea. You should read the books before you give them to kids. But what the school board in Pennsylvania did is they said, no one can read them until we read the books. But they waited a year to read the books. Books you can read in like 3 minutes.
I imagine they're pretty comprehensive.
Children's books. Some of them are pop-up.
Right. It's
So
literally like
wow.
10 words on a page. And so basically what became a freeze was a ban. So I, of course, get involved. They put me on. Fox News calls me. CNN calls me. MSNBC calls me. They all are like, this is a ridiculous travesty. When Fox News and CNN and MSNBC all agree, you screwed up.
The great uniter, Brad.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? That's it. And so basically what happens is I go on, I shame them. I'm like, we should shame these people for doing this. And the truth was, it had nothing to do with me. They picked on Rosa Parks and Dr. King. And we may hate everyone in, half the world, but there are things as Americans we agree on. You can't do that. So we go back. I go to the school board meeting. I'm like, I give this impassioned speech. I read my favorite line from I Am Rosa Parks. It says, I'm not a famous politician. I'm not a businesswoman. I'm just an ordinary person. And I'm absolute proof that there's no such thing as an ordinary person.
Could you get your mask up, sir? Mask up.
Right. And that's exactly. And so, and they say, listen, I'm like, this is what you're denying him. I give this impassioned speech. I'm like, and I've saved the day. And then the truth was, Adam, is all the students start speaking from the district and they start just impassioned, there was a military member who said, listen, this is my old school. I'm embarrassed of you that you're denying these books. Like these books are so good for the community. And by the time it's done, the ban gets overturned. So great, we declare victory. Everything's wonderful. But as you're seeing right now, we're right back in that race part. I mean, you're seeing all these books being banned. And I looked through history because I think the answers are always there. The first book that I could find that historians agree was banned nationwide was Harriet Beecher Stowe's classic, obviously, was, her amazing book. And the reason it got banned is because they said people who were slave owners didn't like that they talked about ending slavery. It didn't like that it talked bad about slavery. Uncle Tom's Cabin should not be used to badmouth slavery. And what it was is they didn't want their way of life being challenged. And every book ban is about power. That's what it's about. And that's what you're seeing right now. You're just seeing the same
They're
thing.
like, Uncle Tom is a pejorative. It's like, yes, that's where it came from. That's where it originated.
I was reading about Amelia Earhart the other day.
His book?
No, just online. Sorry, but I found her super fascinating. Well, she's from like North Hollywood area.
Big airport.
I grew up right next to the North Hollywood Park, and there was a big statue of Amelia Earhart in front of that, and also at the Burbank Airport, there's one which somehow they've stricken Bob Hope's name from that airport. It used to be the Bob Hope.
Yeah. Wait, that's not Bob Hope anymore?
No, it's the Hollywood Airport.
Oh, yeah, they do call it the Hollywood Airport.
Yeah,
and they're like, all right, you tell me. This should be your next book, but they say we got rid of the Bob Hope name because it was confusing. People didn't know where it was. But they replaced it with the Hollywood Airport,
which is
and it's
not in Hollywood.
No, not in Hollywood.
There's Bob Hope and John Wayne.
Right, John Wayne is still there.
LA County, one's in OC.
They got rid of Bob Hope's name. But it would be funny if I made a move to take down the statue of Amelia Earhart in front of the North Hollywood Park, saying that she used the N-word a few times.
You know what? You'd get support.
Let me tell you, the greatest thing about Amelia Earhart, when Amelia Earhart is 7 years old, she builds a homemade roller coaster in her backyard.
Nice.
Wow.
She takes a wooden crate. This is like a crazy young girl. She takes a wooden crate, she puts roller skates on the bottom of it. She shoves it to the roof of her tool shed. She builds, and I know you're a builder, she builds, she takes these 2x4s and she greases them with lard so that it moves down faster. And she comes down, love her, right? Comes flying through the air, crashes. Like the whole thing, of course, is a disaster. But she gets up and she's like, this is amazing, whatever she says. But that's the first moment Amelia Earhart ever flew. She's 7 years old. She said the way her stomach bottomed out from under her, she said she wanted that feeling back again. And I put that in I'm Amelia Earhart. And it's the only story my daughter responded to because she's like, oh, tell me that again.
Yeah.
And you tell these stories. And the thing is, you know, when you find these stories about these heroes when they're kids, they're just amazing. Like, how do you not love her for that?
Yeah, I find her fascinating and interesting. And like I said, she evidently is from North Hollywood or the San Fernando Valley because it was North Hollywood Park was named after her. The Burbank Airport has a statue. And North Hollywood High started a sort of miniature loser high school behind it.
Yes.
Where it's like
North Hollywood High?
Yeah, it was sort of like, you know, kids that don't like to attend regularly and like to smoke during lunch and stuff like that.
Don't give them much homework.
We'll carve out a little patch for them to kind of hang out so we can keep an eye on them.
In a pen.
And that school was called Amelia Earhart.
Yes.
Which
Is that like the good mall and the bad mall before there's the bad mall?
Right.
Is that what it was like?
I would also argue you're not doing much for the legacy of Amelia Earhart to have my 14-year-old sister smoking and talking shit back there while not learning anything. Like, it's a pejorative now. Like, you keep fucking up, you're going to end up at Amelia Earhart. You want that? You want to be there with the doofuses? You'll never be.
By the way, you see what her goggles sold for last week?
Oh, I have that in the news for today.
Yeah, it's like
good.
$850,000.
And do you know what they were supposed to sell for? What they
were
thought
supposed
they
to
were
sell for like $80,000.
Indeed, add a zero and another couple $25,000.
It was her. I don't believe it was her goggles. It was her helmet.
It was
her
a cap.
Like the helmet, a leather helmet, right?
Yeah,
a leather
her
helmet.
Leather.
When she was a
cap.
passenger.
I can't believe we've not found her remains, an airplane, or any of that.
I became obsessed with that. I wanted to do it on the History Channel. I asked, of course, I became obsessed with it, right? I was like, and there's a guy who I've worked with who does great documentary, Chasing Earhart, and he's been the best at kind of trying to look for it. It's just a crazy story, you know, and because you're like, what? How can we not find? We have all this stuff. We can find, you know, a gold coin at the bottom of the ocean. You can't find, you can't track or figure out how far it was, but it is one of the great ones. It is one of the great ones that needs to be answered.
Didn't a picture, of course, a very fuzzy picture come out not too long ago where they're talking about she's sitting with native people on an island.
Yeah.
Right. They show her like, it was kind of like, it was like a great like plot twist in Lost, like, or show her like somewhere else, like later, she's alive. She looked fine.
Alive
and I
and
remember
well.
years ago, I got the family of John Wilkes Booth, who of course shot Abraham Lincoln, contacted me. And they said, every history book says that John Wilkes Booth, 12 days after he shot Abraham Lincoln, that he was killed 12 days later. And they contacted me through their lawyer and said, Brad, they want to tell you the story that their relative John Wilkes Booth got away. He was never caught. He changed his name. He took on a new identity. They have the proof. You want to hear the story. So like the Amelia Earhart thing, I'm like, oh, alternative history? I'm in. Tell me what the story is. And the great part was they showed me his new identity. His new identity was John, instead of John Wilkes Booth, it was John B. Wilkes, which if your name is John Wilkes Booth and your fake ID is John B. Wilkes, that's like a worse fake ID than I had in high school.
Yeah, you're not very good at fake IDs.
It's just the worst fake ID ever. But those stories, like, they lived on and you saw them here, like they're all fun to hear. But like the Amelia Earhart one, they just kind of quickly fall apart when you look for
What, speaking of aircraft lost at sea in modern times, didn't a 777, like Malaysian aircraft or something, and we've never found it? I mean,
did we not find it or did we find it? I thought they found it. I know for a while we didn't know where it was. Right, we didn't know where it was for a while.
They found like an aileron or something washed up somewhere, but I don't know if they've ever found, or Chris can check, but I mean, anyone who's ever flown on a 777, that's a huge piece of equipment. And it crashed in the Indian Ocean, maybe, or in the, I'm not sure where. And I don't think we found that airplane, which seems, with modern radar and everything, seems unthinkable. But
I know for weeks it wasn't found, but I thought they eventually did find it. But I thought the thing was, and maybe I'm confusing too, but there was one where like it was, they thought permanently put down by the pilot. Like they couldn't explain the crash. Oh, this and they were looking for motive. Or am I confusing?
Yes, that's this one.
That's this one, right? And then he whether he left a note and whether he crashed it on purpose and whether this was a giant suicide attempt. Like that to me is always the most fascinating thing. Because it's like, you want to go kill yourself. Like there are lots of ways to do it, but to take a whole plane and a giant plane of people, I always feel like that's there's some missing part of this.
The conspiracy theory is the pilot took the plane down intentionally. Oh. Right. They found a piece of it, like little pieces of it on the coast of Africa in the Indian Ocean, but they've not found the actual 777. I mean, it's wild. A huge airplane. Went down with modern radar and all the equipment and everything.
Precise location.
Seems insane.
Is this the one that not determined, but they think maybe a fire broke out on board because they kept shutting down
maybe
systems?
A fire broke down. Or there was a fire theory and a pilot gone rogue theory.
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to ask if this was the same plane as the theory that everybody was like incapacitated, like due to cabin pressure or some sort of leak, like everybody.
That's what happened, as it went down. But here's the crazy part of this story. So the guys who work at Dover Air Force Base, like I'm not doing this as like some cheap plug, but like in the lightning rod is set at Dover Air Force Base. And I went there to work with the morticians. And one of the things they told me when a plane goes down is that if you eat a sheet of paper, you write a note and you eat the sheet of paper, that depending on the height of your crash, that the liquids in your stomach will actually protect that paper upon the crash.
That sounds impossible.
And I was like, I literally was like, that's an awesome idea for a story. I'm going to use that in like the lightning rod and the escape artist. I'm going to use it in my thrillers. And he said to me at the time, they said, I should say, it's not an idea. It really happened. And one of the bodies that came into Dover, this is true, someone ate a note on their plane before it crashed. So whenever I hear those stories about the big 777, and I use that, I use that in the book, but whenever I hear those stories, I'm always like, did anyone eat? And all it really guarantees is the next time you're on a plane and there's turbulence, you're going to think of me and eating paper. You're going to be chowing on some paper.
Then the guy from Dover said, and Brad, if your hand is bigger than your face,
right,
it means you're retarded.
Exactly.
So
let me tell you something. Those people who work there are crazy. I mean, they work on our fallen soldiers, and they will spend 12 hours rewiring someone's jaw and smoothing it over with clay because they want a family to see their son one last time, or rebuild someone's hand because a mother says, I want to hold my son's hand one last time. These people there, it's that's why I had to make him the hero of my story. But like that's who the hero became, because I was like, these are the best of us working on the best of the best of us.
I hope now. I think the answer with the 777 is there are parts of the ocean that are so deep that it all looks the same from the top, but there's Marianas Trenches and things. There's parts that are so deep that whatever goes there will never be seen again. But, it'd be cool if they were looking for the 777. They found Amelia Earhart's
Oh my God.
airplane.
What a lucky day.
On the way down.
That would be good news and bad news.
Sir, good news and bad news.
Which one do you want first?
All right, let's give a plug. The Lightning Rod. It's available on Amazon, released today, and the book tour's going gangbusters. BradMeltzer.com is where you can go. That's the website. Always fun and informative, Brad. So
No, always love seeing you guys. Thanks for doing it.
thanks, buddy. All right, let me tell you about Stamps.com, your small business. Well, it's not small to you, and you can't afford missed opportunities to grow. Stamps.com. Skip the post office trip. Skip the trip to the post office and focus on your small business. Print official postage right from your computer. Spend less time at the post office and more time making your customers happy. Plus discounts you can't find anywhere else, like up to 40% off USPS rates and 76% off UPS. We use it here. We've always used it here. It's been over a decade. Sending out books and merch and everything with Stamps.com. Whether you're in an office sending invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out orders, Stamps.com is going to make life easier. Right, Dawson?
Stop overpaying for shipping with Stamps.com. Sign up with promo code Adam for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter code Adam.
Sign up for the shot you with a mail truck for something else.
That's right. Jay Mohr's coming in here, and I'm looking down at my screen, and I'm seeing Al Pacino as Bobby Hollander.
Oh, my God.
I'm getting moist.
The role he was born to play.
We'll do that right after this.
Stop asking me if I know what you're saying after every other sentence.
Jay Mohr on the Adam Carolla Show.
The great Jay Mohr in studio.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm excited to talk to you, Jay. I always like to talk to you.
I owe you an amends. Last time I was supposed to come on the show, I ran out of gas on the 405.
Oh, that's right.
Because I was high as balls.
Yeah.
I was so high on Adderall, a gas gauge confounded me.
Yeah.
I was so distracted.
How much Adderall are you taking these days?
No, I'm sober. I got a year Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, I'm out. I love it.
You're
I have to say that.
out of everything.
Well, I have to say that or they kick me out of AA, but yeah.
What's the regimen for you? Is a mindfulness, saunas, hikes, cold plunges? What do we got?
Wake up, say my prayers, make my bed, call my sponsor, write my gratitude list, talk to a bunch of other drunks, hit an 8 a.m. men's Zoom meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's all before 8 a.m.?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Pretty impressive.
Swim my laps because you gain a lot of weight in rehab. I went to rehab, the whole deal, buddy.
How long were you in rehab for?
2 months. I went to 2 different rehabs. I went to one rehab in Orange County. It was an all-men's Christian rehab, beans, rice, and Jesus Christ. My roommate there did 14 years in prison for arson.
Oh.
Wow.
And it was just me. I never had a roommate in my life. It's me, him, a nightstand with a candle on it. I'm like, what the fuck? Read his file.
Yeah, really?
And he was a vato. He was a gangbanger, bro. You could tell which Mexican guys did jail time in rehab because they only walk along a wall, so you can only jump them from one side.
Oh, interesting.
Never thought about that.
Yeah.
Smart.
It's a visual.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in the middle of the night, my first night there, I'm like still detoxing off of speed. I'm trying not to shit my pants when I cough. They took my laces out of my sneakers and my drawstring and my sweatpants so I couldn't hang myself or others. And in the dark, I hear like, hey, bro, it's Armando. I'm like, yeah, I didn't think they switched out the addicts at 11:02. But first of all, they told me at orientation, lights out was at 11. You know what I'm saying? They told me lights out was at 11 o'clock at orientation. And I was like, yeah, maybe tonight you don't turn the lights out because you put me next to a goddamn arsonist. And in the middle of the night, he's like, hey, bro. I'm like, well, yeah. He goes, it's Armando. I'm like, yeah, I didn't think they switched out the addicts at 11:02. But he goes, just so you know, vato. Hey, cabrón, when you hear a rubbing noise coming from over here in the dark, I'm not jerking off, cabrón. I'm rubbing my feet together. That's self-care.
Oh, wow.
I was like, good to know. Just so you know.
Even if he was.
Right.
Now you have an
He's
alibi.
rubbing his feet together.
That's self-care, mijo. That helps me sleep, cabrón.
Listen, Armando, is your dick in between your feet? That's my question.
I wish, cabrón. Hey, órale. Hey, pinchy, wait. I said, just so you know, if you hear a rubbing noise coming from over here in the dark, I'm jerking off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that. Wah, 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 wah.
So you were able Bobby Hollander, and we'll play a clip. I'm obsessed with Bobby Hollander.
Incredible.
And I realize he sounds a lot like Al Pacino.
Wow.
And he sounds like Al Pacino. And then
Looks like Al Pacino if he taught community theater.
Let's listen to just 30
We spent
seconds.
4 good minutes on Jay's harrowing and life-changing experience. Let's do
Time to move on.
Bobby Hollander.
Let's get to the porn
We'll circle back. Listen. Look,
Priorities, Brian.
You can't bring out a tub of ice cream and then tell the kids, take your time with the sprouts
that's right.
before we get to the sundaes.
Enjoy them. I worked hard on those.
I knew Bobby Hollander was in the wings.
You know the Reggie Jackson ice cream quote? They go, hey, you really love fastballs. Nolan Ryan just throws fastballs, but he always strikes you out. He goes, you like ice cream, but if I feed it to you every night, you're going to get sick of it.
I do love it. Was Reggie surly?
Yeah, he was like the low pro Jerry West, I guess.
Was Jerry surly?
Did you see the show last night?
No, but I wanted to talk to you about that.
Sopranos great.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
dying to see it.
Bro,
Yeah.
I watched it with Jeanie last night.
Winning time.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you and Jeanie Buss doing?
She's portrayed in the movie, yeah?
She is.
Okay, so I haven't seen it yet.
By Jason Segel.
Oh, my God. I didn't see that coming at all.
We're doing great. We're in love, man.
Oh, good. We'll circle.
She's been with me 4 years. I've been with her 11 months.
I
finally off of speed.
I told you I stood on the deck of that Malibu house on the 4th of July, and she just stood next to me, and we just looked at Jay, who was 200 yards off the shore, swimming in the sea, and she's like, I love that guy.
Oh, I never heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I yelled, beer me. No, but she was like, we literally gay. I didn't even know if she knew she said it out loud, but we were standing on the deck of Leonardo DiCaprio's old place who just sold or whatever, and Jay decided to just go swim laps in the ocean. It was
a good time.
She was longingly gazing.
So that's what they say behind your back.
Yeah, it's always good to hear, right?
Yeah.
Eye makeup's perfect today, by the way.
Mine?
That was like
thanks.
5
If you're talking to
years.
Adam.
That was like 5 years ago, wasn't you guys?
Yeah.
You must have just met.
Because that was before I moved to Malibu.
All right, I want to circle back to
Bobby Hollander.
Put a pin in
But
it.
first, let's just play 30 seconds
let's
of
do it.
Bobby, and then maybe you can do it as Al.
This is Bobby Hollander, and I'd like to introduce you to a tape called The Personal Touch. Now, The Personal Touch is something different in home entertainment. It's strictly adult, strictly X, and it's hot. It's so hot, it's going to blow your balls off. It's going to want to make you wet your panties. It's going to want to make you reach in and grab it. It's going to want to make you come right on your television.
It's going to make Armando put his feet together.
Hey, bro.
All right, so maybe Al Pacino could be auditioning for the role of Bobby Hollander.
Have you seen my movie, the one that's coming out?
Personal?
It is going to make you come so hard. You're going to think you need Bobby Sharp's fucking fire suit.
Bobby?
Yeah. You're fucking, Gina, your nipples are going to come off.
Wow.
You're going to hold them in your hands like dice.
Really?
You're going to throw them out on the table. It's going to say 7.
I'm excited, Snake Eyes.
Then you're going to put your nipples back on backwards, and people are going to slow dance with you and squeeze your nipples at the same fucking time.
Oh, like
You're going to shit your pants, Brian.
Oh, my God.
I choked on my pouch. Excuse me.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Oh, it ain't bad, Brian. You're going to get such an erection, you won't have to measure from your asshole anymore.
No.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah,
That's
but I
Adam.
still do it.
Just to get to 6. Come on, Adam.
No, I've said it
Your
many
panties
times.
are going to get so wet.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take out a small Polynesian village.
Wow.
Tsunami
Jesus.
style.
Oh,
Wow.
With your legs open like a fucking...
When Gina's nipples come off, do they fall off or do they shoot off?
Oh, I'm sure they're.
They take your fucking
Spring-loaded.
eyes off. Roll them around. I'm uncomfortable even saying that to you.
No, please. Well, it makes it extra funny because my nipples are inverted already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I could get him out of there.
3 inches.
I got a shop vac at the other shop.
You ever try holding a sneeze?
All right, maybe a little more of the actual Bobby Hollander.
Yeah,
I love this guy.
He's
I like
my
how he
all-time
thinks
favorite.
he really brought a new experience to porn.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is unlike anything you've ever fucking experienced before.
The novelty of beating off.
You're going
the
to
porn
come
figures,
on your
so-
television set. Your panties are going to get wet.
Oh, you are.
And then you're going to turn it off.
Eventually.
You will revisit this later today and jerk off again. It's crazy.
All right.
Hoorah.
Bobby, sorry. Here we go.
The personal touch means personal touch. It stars Shauna Grant, Sharon Mitchell, Paul Thomas, Ron Jeremy, Dominique, a newcomer to the screen, Gene Hollow. The personal touch was shot on videotape to give you the finest quality in adult entertainment. It's going to let you, the home viewing audience, get out of your bed, off your couch, out of the bar, and you guys that are watching it in a bar, we're going to be into the bathroom in a minute, pulling your wang wang. I don't mean to say it in an obscene way, but we wanted to make it that way. Shauna Grant in this film, whose stars you've seen in Penthouse, you've seen in Swank.
What about
High
Genesis?
Society?
All right.
What about Genesis?
The book of Genesis?
What about the magazine Genesis of
Oh.
Jugs?
That's right. So, Al,
where are my glasses?
If they're on your head.
I'm sorry.
What we need you to do is kind of tell the audience, as the engineer of this recording session, we need you to kind of tell the audience how hot this is.
It's the hottest thing. It's hotter than the sun.
How what they're going to do.
I want
when
you to
they
get
see it.
off your couch. Don't jerk off laying down. That's how hot it is. You will never again jerk off laying down on your bed or your couch or at a bar. You will go to the bathroom and you will jerk off your wang wang with other men at the urinal, and they may say, hey, you need a little help with that. And you'll say yes, because you will be so overcome by your testosterone wanting to fuck Shauna Grant that you will let him in suck your cock.
Oh, my God.
Write it down. Write it down. Annika.
I'm writing it down.
Suck the dick.
All right. Thank you for that, Jay.
You know the boom mic operator?
Uh-huh.
That's not a boom mic. That's his fucking cock.
It's that hot.
It turned into a droid. He was so turned on from the personal
really?
touch. And the personal touch, Brian, means personal touch.
Okay.
Touch yourself. Get your panties wet.
Can do.
Touch your wang wang while reading Genesis and Swank. No more will anybody lay down jerking off. You're going to be standing up, looking out the fucking window at your own reflection saying, I am somebody. Like Jesse Jackson says on Sesame Street. I am somebody.
Powerful.
I am somebody covered in cum.
Okay.
That's right.
Hey, Al.
Yeah. What are we doing?
Yeah, go ahead, just do one that's a little less cum covered.
Sure.
And just
an
a little
alternate
more
take
like, hey, fellas.
for the senses.
Yeah, like,
All right,
'cause-
where was I? Let me get started. I'm Al Pacino. You're about to watch The Personal Touch, directed by my twin, Bobby Hollander. You are going to get aroused. You are going to get tight pants where you're going to think you're shopping and you put on pants that were too tight. You need to go to the Husky section to accommodate all the boner juice flowing through your crank. Yeah. Don't believe me? Watch it. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Yeah.
You could mail your semen home to your father. To your father.
Yeah, well, all right.
Attica.
Let's not focus on the family quite as much, Al. And
It's a family movie, Adam. It's the personal touch.
If we could just get three...
They're all having sex together.
Al, if we could just get 3 clean personal touches that we could just go ahead and use for promotional stuff, give us some choices, you know?
Okay, I got you. For the census. I'm Al Pacino. You're about to watch The Personal Touch. This was filmed on videotape in MySpace to give you the best possible experience. It's an incredible movie. I put my name on it. I write it in jizz all over your fucking dicks. All over your fucking cannons. Get on your knees here and do your fucking job. I'm swimming in the ocean with Jay Mohr. And that's not even an ocean. That is all the fluids that these people shot on set that day. You know, we had to do 74 takes because Sharon Mitchell could not get fucked enough. It was crazy. She had the person. I'm sorry, let me start over.
Just 3 personal touches.
Liberty Mutual. Wait.
Just 3 personal touches. Just, give us some variety.
I'm Al Pacino, and you're about to watch The Personal Touch. And when I watch The Personal Touch, I touch myself and I shoot the fucking candles out. This is you think you got a haunted house, you got your candelabra. You're walking down a creepy staircase, creak. That ain't a creak. That's your zipper about to fucking break because you're so hard from Personal Touch. Did you know Ron Jeremy is in this movie? They call him the Hedgehog. You want to know why? Nobody knows. But I tell you one thing. He's splitting these ladies.
Al, if we just get 3 clean personal...
Just give me a line read.
Yeah, okay. Personal touch. Personal touch.
Personal touch. Personal touch.
Personal touch.
We film people fucking so you could watch it while in line to get soup.
Yeah, we're not going to use that one, Al.
What do you want from me? I'm an artist. It's a fucking porno, Adam.
I get it. Jay Mohr,
hold on, I'll get it. You're about to watch The Personal Touch. This movie is unlike any movie you've ever experienced. Yeah, you've watched porn before, laying on your back like some ham and egger, laying on your couch with that crocheted blanket your grandmother made. Shame on you. Get off your rear end, and if you're in a bar, go to the men's room and take out your wang-wang because you're going to want to use it. You're going to want to use it like Ken Griffey Jr. uses a bat rack. Hoorah! It's the personal touch, and we mean personal touch. Wait, think I don't mean that? I fucking mean it. I just came in my pants.
I think we got it.
The great Jay Mohr. All right, we got it.
That is the first time in my entire life I've ever heard the phrase boner juice.
Really? I didn't even know I said it.
It's been a while. Yeah, were you
inverted nipples?
Were you unaware of Bobby Hollander?
I think he acted too. I think I saw him back in the day when I was like getting VHS tapes brought home in a black plastic bag from that place across from the Laugh Factory, that little strip mall.
He may have seen the bloopers.
He would like get out from behind the camera. I don't think he was doing any screwing, but he was narrating and getting involved.
What you're watching right now is double penetration. Remember, if you want to do double penetration, you want to take the advice of Ace Man, Adam Carolla. You don't want to be the guy with his back to the floor on the bottom, catching oil like the tray you put under your car.
Don't want that.
The leaky tranny.
Because then we got to come out and put sawdust all over you.
That's right, cat litter.
Sop it up. Speaking of sop it up, you're going to want personal touch. Fuck biscuits and gravy. Put your dick and roll it around on a plate. Boner juice, Jeanie. Inverted nipples. Did you know? I can't.
It's okay.
Jay,
you've done enough.
All right, good.
Done enough. Now, back to sobriety and Jeanie Buss.
Yeah.
So, first off, how was Jeanie with how she was portrayed?
It was she was. I think it was. I don't want to speak for her, but John C. Reilly was. Like it's just a walking Emmy. It's so amazing as Dr. Buss.
Yeah.
It's spooky. Like the hair's perfect. They got his teeth. They got like every part of his body.
Yeah.
All his mannerisms. It's fascinating. And she really looked the girl exactly like Jeanie when she was Miss Palisades. It was so sweet. Look at her. Look at my little girl. For a split second, I thought that was her.
She was Miss Palisades.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me tell you something about Miss Palisades.
Yeah, Bobby.
You get a sash.
Did so? Was she able to? You watch it together?
Yeah.
Right. Was she like going, "Oh, please," or "Come on," or?
No, it was. No, I didn't hear any of that.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
they were accurate about it. Where did they get all their info from?
Was she
did they
consulted?
come to her?
No, that was the problem because nobody knew. I'm not really comfortable speaking on her behalf. To be honest with you, she's important to me.
Yeah, I get it.
She's a real cutie.
She's the best.
I don't want to risk not being able to throw the leg over tonight.
I get you, Bobby.
Throw the leg over.
It's based on the book Showtime by Jeff Pearlman. So it says
Jeff Pearlman is in The Personal Touch.
Oh, is Jeff acting
Yeah,
there?
we snort coke off his head.
Ah.
And then it's showtime.
So he's acting in The Personal Touch.
Of course he is.
Uh-huh.
Everyone is.
And
Brian's in there.
Hadley Robinson, who played Jeanie, is also in The Personal
She's
Touch.
also in Brian's book, Shrinkage.
She's in everything.
When Brian's done, Shrinkage.
So, sober. Let's talk about it. Now that we're done with Bobby Hollander. You got to prioritize.
Now we can move on.
I'm interested.
Sober thoughts.
How is this the longest you've been sober?
Oh, yeah. Well, birth to
Right.
13 was probably the longest.
And what was the weapon of choice for you?
Adderall.
Yeah.
You crush it?
Yeah, I have a lot of them in this bathroom, crushing them and snorting them, and then hoping I don't have orange or blue boogers in here when I'm talking to you guys.
Nice.
And how's this affected? How's the sobriety and the comedy? How's that working together?
I'm better, way better. It's well, I put on some weight.
As you can see, I look like, hey, I wouldn't fit in that Bob Sharp fire suit anymore, I haven't done this impression in a while. Good thing I'm back. Little known fact about Bobby Hollander, Secretary of the Interior under Jimmy Carter.
Really?
I'm thinking
shit.
That's correct.
Breaking news.
Wow.
That is breaking news.
You look good.
That chair with those inverted nipples.
It's
Jay, you
true.
look good. You look healthy.
Yeah.
I feel good. Everything I could tell you about sobriety that I do on stage is just going to come out as such a joke.
Yeah.
Well, that guy Armando had loyalty tattooed to his stomach for his set. But, all you do in rehab is eat. When he left, and his stomach says Loyola Marymount.
Anyway, gang. Oh, got some laughs from the peanut gallery over there. Where have I been?
What would it sound like if Colin Quinn was talking about the Personal Touch movie?
I love you.
What might that sound like?
Let me tell you about the Personal Touch, all right? Maybe you're on your couch, under like a SpongeBob blanket, dreaming about the companion piece of Squidward throws. You're going to get off the blanket, and you're going to masturbate furiously as if you're being attacked by a shark, and the only way to save your life is by doing that, It's hot, Adam. So
It's tough to do. I haven't done Colin in probably 2 years.
What about Russell Brand? What if he was talking about
It's too hard.
Too
I'm
hard?
sorry. I got to know my limits here. But I like what I liked about Personal Touch is I made my stomach look like a painter's radio.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. A painter's radio.
Making Adam laugh like pleasing daddy.
That is so goddamn funny. I used to be a painter. I've been on so many construction sites. They dropped the boombox off, and it was always splattered with white paint.
My dad had that with the radio. Never painted.
Oh, really?
No, we don't want to. We don't want to go there.
Shooting loads. Banana juice everywhere.
What if Bruce Springsteen was talking about the Personal Touch?
It's like spinning a wheel.
I'm just looking down.
I don't do Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, Teddy Atlas then.
Oh, wow. Is there any water around here? Because this is a Pier 1 brawl. I love Larry Merchant when they would do, speaking of boxing, when they would do the fights, it would be Larry Merchant, it would be Jim Lampley, and then Harold Letterman somewhere off-site on the Ho Chi Minh Trail taking mortar fire.
Right.
Like, another right hand by Barrera. Larry, how do you see the fight so far? Jim, in this fight, the Big Bang itself would have to... Let's go to Harold Letterman. Okay, Jim. All right. I got the fight 14 rounds to 14. I got it all even. We're taking fire. Medic, Corman. Jim, I'm very unprepared for these impressions.
I would hope,
but I will
buy you
sin
some
bravely.
time, but I would hope that some fighter got robbed with a bad hometown decision just so I could see Teddy Atlas spin out after the fight. Let's just scream about what's wrong with boxing. This is why, the UFC.
Teddy Atlas is tough to do sitting down. You got to stand up because he loves to show you how to fight.
Right.
Like this. You got to knock on the front door, you come in the side door. You knock on the front door, you come in the side door.
Yeah, he was.
I'm not doing the voice at all, but
I'm
thinking about a scar on my face.
Yeah, he has a scar,
He got that scar shooting himself in the face with jizz watching the person.
Oh my gosh.
Really? Yeah.
It was a cannon blast.
God.
That's right. Every professional actor with any physical deformity happened while jerking off or touching themselves in this movie.
What would Tracy Morgan sound like if we was talking
I like the personal touch. I watch it wearing my wheelchair gloves.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's like a different person.
With the gloves.
Yeah. Who else remembers finger fucking Portuguese girls on the handball courts?
I think we've all
Yeah, handball courts is where you got down. You had your head in your armpit smelling your own funk. Yeah.
What if Norm Macdonald was talking about the personal touch?
You know that Personal Touch movie, the Bobby Hollander opus, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's not as good as the book.
Oh, really? You read the book? You're so scholarly, Norm.
Yeah, the book was exceptional,
No, I didn't know that.
No, it was a good book. Yeah, it was one of those books where, the pages, they get stuck together.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was a stupid joke.
No, but I got it.
I don't know. Bobby Hollander, not too many people know this, was originally going to direct Django Unchained.
Oh, my God.
What?
Yeah, Django Unchained.
He passed just before that.
He died.
Yeah.
He died.
But he was slated.
He fucking came to death.
You turned inside out.
Gina, you want those nipples to see the sunshine. You watch Personal Touch. Pop, pop. You're going to have it. Oven stuff and roasting nipples. You'll know that the turkey is done.
Oh, for the first time.
They are going to shoot out and sing hallelujah. You're going to need a fucking... Yeah, that's exactly right. That's right.
Wow.
All right. Well, Gina, I should tell people that Jay's doing Straight Out of Rehab tour. Is going to be in Boston, Mass. Laugh Boston. That'll be Friday and Saturday. Then Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's at the Creston Brewery. That'll be March 25th, 26th. Appleton, Wisconsin. I think we played the Skyline Comedy Club there. I think. Yeah.
We've been there, yeah.
Yeah. And for more dates, you can go to jmohr.com. All right, let me hit Ultimate Ears, and then we'll hang out and do some news. Ultimate Ears, well, there's tech you use every day. We rely on devices. It's easy to forget about things like the earbuds. Well, no two are exactly alike. That's what no ears are exactly right. So why get a one-size-fits-all earbud? They cause discomfort. They cause pain. UE fits true wireless custom fit earbuds from Ultimate Ears. Premium sound, all-day comfort. The molding experience is easy. Used to have a professional come by.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I got an IFB ear thing when I was doing Loveline on MTV. I had to have a tech show up, make a cast, plaster cast of your ear.
They literally put it in, it warms up a little, and your phone says, does it feel like it's warming up? We're almost done. And then it's done, and they fit yours perfectly.
8 hours continuous playback on a single charge, up to 20 hours with the charging case. And if you try them and you do not love them, they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus free shipping, free returns, and a 1-year warranty. It's Ultimate Ears, right, Dawson?
Use promo code Adam at ue.com/fits to get your pair of UE fits. That's ue.com/fits. Promo code Adam.
All right, we'll take ourselves a quick break.
Can I have a tease question? Does this whole Bobby Hollander obsession come from you watching The Personal Touch?
Well, no, but when I was young, so my dad made, there was a decree, which everyone knows who listens to the show. If anything plugged in, took batteries, or brought joy, it wasn't allowed inside of the house.
Seventh-day Adventist.
And my dad, he would have been perfect.
No birthdays.
And my dad, you get to a certain age, and you count on your dad to maybe have a change jar with some bills in it or something on the bureau of the room. Maybe he's got some booze somewhere in the bar with the roller cart, that you can take a nip off of. Maybe he's got a couple penthouses or Playboys, stuff there. There's stuff, cigarettes.
Right.
There's stuff your dad has
Little
when
treasures.
you're a young person that you can't get. You don't have to go out and buy it. Your dad, if he's a fucking regular dude, will have some of this shit around the house, and then you can decide when to sort of get in on it. So my dad, no booze, no cigarettes, no drugs, no pornography. My dad, he ate cottage cheese with fucking raisins in it for dinner. You couldn't get a steak or porn or Tipperillo or fucking anything. He just sat there like a monk reading his fucking books. So I'd have to go to my other friends' houses because their dad had a VCR and their dad had some porno, whatever. But now it was weird because you're at the other guy's house. Like, hey, you got Taboo too? I don't know. My dad's going to be home soon. Oh, maybe we can just watch it for a few minutes. Now you're watching Taboo 2 at someone else's house on their VCR. And Bobby Hollander was involved with a couple of these movies that my friend's dad had. And I remember always laughing about Bobby Hollander because he was standing there narrating everything. And then later on, I rented Bobby Hollander's porn bloopers.
Which we now own at the studio.
Nice.
Yeah,
Go
that's
to borrow,
right.
check it out from the studio library.
Right.
Archive.
Can't
Right.
do it.
So that was so I always had this name, Bobby Hollander, stuck in my head. Like I know the theme song to Taboo 2. He's got it all. You know what I mean? And got to get it on. Like
Give us a couple of bars.
He's got it all. Yes, he does. He knows how to please in every detail. He can do more than you'd ever imagine and do it with style. He does it with me. Oh, yes, he does. This is a woman singing about being raped by her brother. This is
Played by Tom Byron.
This is a woman who's singing about her brother having intercourse with her.
Wow.
He can do more than you'd ever imagine.
Second
That's true. He does it with me. Oh, and when he does, he satisfies me. Let's see. We'll play the song. Find the song, Chris. I know
fact,
you
that
knew.
That song's written by Shalimar.
Really?
Yeah, Shalimar.
You'd love him too if you only knew.
Last time I tried to play it, the file's corrupted. Let's see if it's fixed.
Jose Feliciano did the guitar in
He
this.
has it all, yes he does.
He knows how to please in every detail. He can do more than you'd ever imagine.
Sounds like the Carpenters.
Does it
They
with
should
me.
be so much.
Oh, yes, he does. I know that you thought that you knew him. So when I karaoke this is where the body comes in. Maybe you did. This is where it starts. But you don't. I hit it hard.
Yeah.
If the guy has the song. Sometimes they don't. The guy's running the karaoke doesn't have all the songs.
It's not at the ready.
You think you do, but you don't.
That's right.
We're fucked out of the big ending.
Okay.
We gotta
Yeah, there's a
find a new
big
one.
ending.
Well, at some point, maybe Tony Bennett would like to come back and sing a little bit of that.
Yeah, we can work
He
that
can
out.
do more than you'd ever imagine. You think you know my brother, but you don't, because he has sex with me when I'm sleeping. How? I sleep on my stomach, and he plays bike rack.
Thank
Plays
you.
bike ride.
Plays bike rack. We have Teddy Atlas freaking out over
know.
the Canelo versus
They're
Triple G.
asking me again.
It's a Canelo versus the Triple G fight.
that?
He didn't like it. He didn't like the judge.
We all want to ignore it, but this sport has shown history of corruption. The IBF years ago, Bob Lee, the president, he got caught on videotape taking money. He was the president of the IBF. Everyone forgets a few years ago, there was a woman judge, $30,000 wound up in her bank account after a bad decision. What is that? What is that?
Wow.
I told you, you better hope that fight goes wrong.
That was a terrible decision.
The best
You remember
clip
that fight?
yeah, the best
118, 112?
Yeah, well, again, I was disappointed by the call by the refs, but the judges. But I was excited knowing that Teddy Atlas was going to freak out on camera.
Adam, in the Canelo Triple G fight, what you had was a case of stolen identity. And the identity that was stolen was the hearts and minds of boxing fans.
Oh, this is what's his name? Larry Merchant.
Cock Merchant.
Yeah.
I like when he told Floyd Mayweather, "If I was a younger man, I'd slap you right in your face." We're all like, "Do it! I'd love to see you beaten up on TV."
Yeah, it was. He was interviewing Floyd, and they got a little sassy.
At what age is Larry Merchant and Floyd Mayweather a fair fight? Birth?
Even then, I got
never.
Floyd Mayweather
Senior genetic.
Floyd Mayweather Senior now,
right?
Would come back from he would haunt him.
Passed. All right, we'll take a quick break. Come back and do the news with Jay right after this.
The Adam Carolla Show presents Jay Mohr's birthday cocktail party for August 23rd. Let's see who's invited. The headless King of France, Louis XVI. American actor and dancer, Gene Kelly is here. From Psycho, actress Vera Miles. Jeanie is here, Barbara Eden. Former governor of California, Pete Wilson, has joined the party. The governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. Let's welcome the most dangerous drummer of all time, Keith Moon. Rick Springfield is here. So is Shelley Long. From Stone Temple Pilots, Dean DeLeo. River Phoenix just walked in. And at guard for the Los Angeles Lakers, 16-time All-Star, Kobe Bryant. Jay Mohr is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Wow, I dream of Jeanie.
Is that a birthday
Jeanie
party
Buss
or a seance?
And Kobe, like you guys had to. It was meant to be, you and Jeanie Buss.
We couldn't get Shelley Long out of the bathroom with her copy of The Personal Touch. Here's Jism.
All right, Gina.
Well, let's talk about Bill Cosby. The Supreme Court will not hear an appeal of his rape case. The court just turned away an appeal filed by prosecution in Pennsylvania to overturn a decision by the state Supreme Court. Last year, that court ruled that his conviction was based on evidence that violated his due process rights and threw it out. And you'll remember, I'll remind you, in 2005, the then DA of Montgomery County concluded he didn't have enough evidence to pursue a rape case against Cosby and offered him immunity in exchange for the comic's testimony in a civil lawsuit. His successor then refiled the case and used that testimony to put Cosby behind bars.
Oh,
tricky.
It's crazy. It's also how old is Bill's out now. Is he doing things?
You see, what happened was just sleeping on
Bill?
the couch, and I wanted to bring her a hot dog, and I wanted the hot dog in the bun.
Well, you know, I got to tell you, Bill, I feel like if you had the Personal Touch movie, that you would have, a lot of this could have been prevented. You know what I mean? I just feel like you wouldn't have so much wind in your sail or starch in your britches or whatever the metaphor.
Me and Theo watched The Personal Touch with Theo and the ejaculated the wolves of the zoo of the salvo zoo.
You did? You watched with your
I would
TV
like
set?
to talk to you about The Personal Touch. See, Sharon Mitchell and the bull, and she got it inside out with the penis and the bop and the wang wang.
Yeah, that was Ron Jeremy's in this one as well.
Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, Shauna Grant, you know.
Shauna Grant.
All the big names are in this one. Bill.
He may have brushed shoulders with Ron Jeremy in prison.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, you guys had to be in protective custody, right?
Ron Jeremy's a good man in the loop and the lizard.
Huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Flism.
Ron Jeremy's in.
Flabba-dooba-dippy.
And so did you watch The Personal Touch, Mr. Cosby?
I watched The Personal Touch with my soulmate Jennifer, And he and I had a party in the zoo.
Okay, so
He did my trousers and I took it off and I went and he said, "Show me what you did to the fool." And I did the fool and I did a super ejaculation.
The great Bill Cosby. But
I just pulled my groin.
I know.
How does that happen? I'm so old. I fart when I pee.
Speaking of old, he's 84 years young, Bill Cosby.
Wow. He's never going away.
But it all turns to dick after midnight. This is a bop.
Well, you know how we talked about bars and places pouring out their Russian vodka and how much that broke your heart?
It did.
Well, somebody would like you to stop doing that. As bars continue to avoid Russian brands of vodka, pulling Russian brands of vodka off their shelves, the owner of Stolichnaya is trying to make it very clear that he opposes Vladimir Putin. Billionaire Yuri Shefler is rebranding the vodka, which is produced in Latvia, and says the first thing to go is the name. This'll cure it. From now on, it's just called Stoli. Not like we weren't all calling it that already.
Yeah.
He says, while I've been exiled from Russia since 2000 due to my opposition to Putin, I remain proud of the Stolichnaya brand. More than anything, I wish for Stoli to represent peace in Europe and solidarity with Ukraine.
We should all just announce that we were exiled from Russia because of our opposition to Putin. And no one ever checks up on that. Hey, there's a picture of you and Putin shaking hands recently. Like, then everyone just goes, okay, this guy was ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Like, this guy took a stand.
Yeah.
It sounds good. Yeah,
Absolutely. So please drink his vodka. He'd like that.
Yeah, so now
I think that's a bad idea, Gina, for me.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, don't
sorry.
do that.
I didn't mean for everybody.
Eat his Adderall.
There you go. Now you're talking, Adam.
Where is, where's what's his name? The kung fu expert from
Seagal?
Where's Seagal in this whole mess?
Can't he solve this?
I feel like he
Kanye
should.
can.
Isn't he like Rodman and Kim Jong-un?
Yeah. Don't you feel like Seagal
He should get involved.
at least get close enough to hit him with a poison dart, like something like, look, Seagal, you want to return to the status you had in 1992?
Be welcomed back with open arms.
Right. You've become kind of a laughing stock here in the States. I got a way to ingratiate
You're back
you.
on top, baby.
That's right.
Christopher Walken recruiting Steven Seagal for this mission. Look, Steven, I have a job for you. You go to Russia. Let me finish. You and Putin, you get together, you watch The Personal Touch. The Todd Hollandsworth. Oh, no, that's Bobby Hollander opus.
Yeah.
And when Putin gets so excited that he takes out his wang, you grab it. You grab it and you punch him in his throat until he's dead. And you go, it's all good. Ukraine, Crimea, we're done. I did it. And then you come home and we watch Personal Touch together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's a solid plan.
In his ass.
That's good.
Oh, no, that last part.
That's how I felt about the speech in the movie. It was like that beautiful speech in his ass. But, I'm on the losing end of that argument.
Right. Were you with SNL when Steven Seagal was the host?
No.
Because I didn't.
That's
Bob
been making the rounds.
Okay, because Bob Odenkirk said that was like the worst episode.
Apparently, they never replayed it.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
He was just a real weirdo, like kind of a dick. He's like, there was a sketch, I guess, where he was supposed to be beaten up by Hans and Franz. And he's like, I will not do this unless I beat up Hans and Franz.
Well, the number one trait of douchebaggery, I know from talking to guys who make some of these movies, is when the guy won't let his character beat up like Hobbs or Shaw or Vin Diesel's like, I'm not going to let my guy get his ass kicked by that guy.
Like, but as a joke in a bit?
I know. It's crazy. Well,
that's how Bogart got like his first leading roles. I forget who the other actor was, but he wouldn't die on camera.
Oh,
so
my
Bogart
God.
was like, I'll do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I
What if what if Johnny Carson was watching The Personal Touch?
Well, we have a great show. Joan Embry is here.
Oh, from the zoo.
Yeah, well, Ed, you need an army cut or something?
And also, Mr. Hollander's here.
Bobby Hollander.
Bobby Hollander, where his new film,
Yes, sir.
The Personal Touch.
Oh,
with
yes.
Ed ruined the couch.
Hey-oh.
Yeah, he came buckets.
Buckets
of cum.
Barrels.
Well, buckets, barrels, yeah.
Tanker trucks.
Yeah, Joan Embry.
Double-lined hull.
He shot the eye out of a cheetah. In the next room that Joan
Yes,
Embry
sir.
was going to bring us, now she's going to bring out a cheetah with an eye patch.
Drinking a Budweiser.
Drinking Budweiser.
Eating Alpo.
Ma'am, can I finish?
Oh.
Yeah, you really think you're fooling everybody. Personal Touch. Pornographic film. It's unlike anything else. It was shot on videotape.
Came hard.
That's right. That's right. You took out your wang.
Maybe a third wang.
Freddie and Doc.
Doc Severs.
They decided they were gay.
Bugle Boy.
Yeah,
Shot
Doc.
jizz out of a flugelhorn.
Shot jizz all over Teddy Atlas's face. And Joan Embry, cum catcher that she is, decided to put a cheetah up to stop Ed's flow. And,
Doc!
Here's Jism. I think we found Adam's most favorite thing to do, and that's Ed McMahon just yelling filthy Jism. Yes, sir. Do it. Do more.
I don't do impressions.
You were just having a ball.
I was having a laughing. You're making me laugh, man.
Also, we have Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network to straighten his finger. And Adam Schefter's...
Inside backer.
That's right.
Mhm.
Fudge backer.
Fudge backer, inside backer.
Member of the LGBTQ community.
Trans.
No, he's just Brian. Dear Casey.
I
realize I'm doing Casey.
now?
I got to do a death dedication. We got Bobby Hollander, and I got to do a death dedication about a fucking dog dying covered in fucking jizz from the Personal Touch. It's down on the phone.
Oh my God! I've never seen Adam so happy. Yes,
I'm
buckets.
in love with I'm in love with Bobby Hollander and Jay Mohr. So
I'm
what
in love
can
with you, buddy.
What can I say?
Yeah, it's perfect combination.
Are you getting in the ocean, Jay?
No, I'm swimming laps now because I got fat. I went to weigh one of my dogs at J Mohr 37. You can see them on my Instagram, and I went to pick up the teacup Pomeranian, and I stepped on a scale, and it said 230, and I'm like, yeah, this dog doesn't weigh 30 pounds. This is like an 8-pound dog. I got issues now.
Are you swimming? Where are you swimming?
Playa Vista, at the pool there.
Oh, nice.
Are you still coaching?
No, well, look.
Hey, I don't know.
It's hard to coach remotely from rehab.
I see.
But I remember Adderall falling out of my pockets onto the wrestling mat.
Oh, boy.
Oh, really?
And telling kids it was my heart medication. And then I was wrestling later in the day, and the kids were like, Coach, your heart. I'm like, oh, it's fine. Come on, it's all right, you bunch of babies.
Oh. All right.
I coached at Fame.
Let's do one more,
Okay.
Tina.
Let's see. Well, let me pick between these two. Drake just lost a lot of money on UFC's main event Saturday night. TMZ reports that he plunked down $275,000 on Jorge Masvidal, who squared off against Colby Covington. And unfortunately, Drake and for Masvidal, Covington won a unanimous decision. It wasn't even close. I don't know if you guys saw that fight.
Yeah.
Covington was quick to trash talk. He said to Drake, let's talk about all the money that Drake lost tonight. He needs to go back to selling those shitty albums to get back the money.
I love it.
And Covington and Masvidal apparently really do hate each other. Yeah. Masvidal said that the fight he fought like crap, and then kind of gave him a little bit of props, says he's a bitch, but the bitch can wrestle.
Yeah, hey, Jay, he didn't bring his wrestling game, Masvidal. That was basically what happened.
I don't know. It just looked, did you watch the fight?
Yeah.
It was pretty one-sided, but all those punches to the face had nothing to do with wrestling. It was just, he just out-timed him, out-angled him.
Yeah. It was. It wasn't particularly exciting.
Well, if Masvidal won, Drake would have gotten $1 million.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad bet because Jorge Masvidal's been doing really well, and I was surprised. Everyone's surprised that he was a 3-1 dog in that, or favored. Covington was in that fight. Everyone thought it was going to be kind of a pick'em type fight, and it wasn't. So probably smart. I mean, not now, but I had as kind of a pick'em style fight where you bet $275, you get back $1 million.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Covington said he wants to fight Louis Cajun guy.
The Cajun guy?
Chef Boyardee?
Yeah, that's him. You know.
Oh, God, I'll think of it.
Emeril Lagasse?
Anyway, Emeril Lagasse. Bam. But I think, like, just go right back to that well and just touch him up again and again and again.
With Jorge?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I'd watch it. Who's the guy? Who's the Cajun guy?
I'm putting your screen.
Oh, Dustin Poirier.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Cajun man, okay. Okay, no.
What would Adam Sandler sound like plugging the personal touch?
I watched the personal touch video. Oh, orgasm.
Yeah, an orgasm, Adam?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you like
Shut up. Close the door. I'm jerking off.
Oh,
I'm trying to jack off. Ooh, Sharon Mitchell.
Sharon Mitchell's in
Sharon
it.
Mitchell.
Shauna Grant.
Small boobies.
Shauna Grant's in it. Yeah, and Ron Jeremy's also in this
Oh,
one.
the hedgehog there.
Oh, gosh. All right, well, Harlan Williams is coming in here tomorrow, so we're going to have to get him to do whatever he does with personal.
How you doing, my little chickadee? I'm gonna go home and watch Peggy Sue Got Married. You want to join me?
Oh, Harlan.
He's here early.
Did you ever paddle a canoe out of your toilet? Fair?
No,
But that's okay.
You got to do a bird. You got to do a bird call in there. Yeah, there you go.
I have a teacup.
I love Harlan.
I love Harlan too.
Oh,
such a sweet guy. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
You will let him in, suck your cock.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Waukegan, Illinois, Genesee Theater this Thursday. Me there, stand up, and then we're heading off to the Kansas City, the Comedy Club of Kansas City, doing 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. It'll be the 11th and 12th. We're going to Austin, doing 4 shows at Cap City Comedy Club as well, March 25th, 26th. Go to amcarolla.com for all the live shows. And speaking of live, the stand-up special, J. Mohr, Altamont, is available on Amazon, YouTube, Apple TV, Google Play as well, and stand-up.
And videotape.
Straight out of...
For the best quality.
Straight out of rehabs. Coming to Boston. That is Boston, Laugh Boston. That is Friday and Saturday. And then he's heading to a town near you, and you can go to jmohr.com. Also, Brad Meltzer, The Lightning Rod. That book available as we speak. Until next time, Adam Carolla, Jay Mohr, and Brad Meltzer, and Gina Grad, and Bull Bryan. Say it. Mahala. I just feel like you wouldn't have so much wind in your sail or starch in your britches or whatever the metaphor.
Me and Theo watched The Personal Touch with Theo and the ejaculated the wolves about the zoo of the salvo zoo.
You did? You watched with your
I would
TV
like
set?
to talk to you about The Personal Touch. See, Sharon Mitchell and the bull, and she got funded inside out with the penis and the bop and the wang wang.